Okay. So, hello everyone, and welcome to the another episode of What's Your Story, brought to you by Sashakt, the Entrepreneurship Committee of DMS IIT Delhi. And today we have an entrepreneur, a strategist, and an inspiration with us, Mr. Nipun Jain. And he's a leader who has not only built a business from scratch, but has also reinvented himself through adversities of life. So, let's talk to Nipun about that. Hello, Nipun. How are you?
Yeah, hi everyone. Hi Avishi and the entire team. Thank you so much for calling me for this podcast series. And I really hope that we enjoy talking to each other for the next few minutes. Looking forward to it.
Okay, fine. Yeah, so hi, Nipun. So before we dive into our conversation, let's set the stage with a brief introduction. Nipun, the Associate Director of Business Strategy at Razorpay Rize, is an alumnus of IIM Lucknow and 𝙬𝙧𝙤𝙬𝙯 College, Delhi University. From being a school topper in economics to founding Natty Niños, a successful D2C services brand, his journey has led into experiences that we are eager to explore today.
So, Nipun, before we dive into your professional journey and what you have done in the professional career, firstly, we would like to connect with you more on your personal level. And okay, I would like to ask you a question on your defining moment or your experience from the early life that actually ignited the passion of entrepreneurship in you.
Thank you, Avishi, for the question. And I think, so I think being an entrepreneur or even thinking about being an entrepreneur has to come from within. You have to uh, believe one in power of entrepreneurship. You have to know the purpose. Why do you want to become an entrepreneur? And it doesn't come with any of your education or any of your other professional experience. So considering everyone in my family has been in some kind of business, I belong to a Jain family where it's a by default thing in the family where everyone by default is into business. So I always had that somewhere in my mind right from my childhood, that even if I am able to grab the best education in the country, then also I would want to start something of my own one day. And the similar thought process led me into starting Natty Niños in late 2013, when I actually thought that okay, this is a time for me to start my own company. Let me start early. Even if I fail, I will fail early so that I can be in a better position to do a lot of great things in my future life accordingly. So that was the basic purpose why I chose entrepreneurship. And I think it came from my family, and how I have seen a lot of people building multi crore business and multi crore
Yeah.
empires just out of this curiosity.
I think this is something that is Jain's blood. I am also a Jain. I get it. Why do we have something about business?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. So yeah, Nipun, looking back at your college days, it's clear that you wore many hats and took on various roles. And so, how do you think these diverse experiences back then, perhaps the ones that were not directly related to your studies, influence your mindset and journey as an entrepreneur?
Sure, Sahil. So I think so though on papers you would never need a college degree to be an entrepreneur, but I still always would ask anyone who wants to build their own company to at least complete their education, because these small experiences, the knowledge we receive from the books, the knowledge and experiences we gain by meeting a lot of new people, making new friends, understand and understand the psychology of different mindset from different diversity. I think that is what really help us in the long term when we are actually building and creating our own company. So that's why my college experience has been also phenomenal. I spent 3 years at 𝙬𝙧𝙤𝙬𝙯 College, Delhi University, and I believe those were the foundation years for me in terms of understanding a lot of different dynamics, a lot of different thought processes, and also by spending a lot of time in college society, like commerce society or beat placement cell, I actually got a deep understanding on how to work as a team, how to work more collaboratively, how to solve problems more quickly. Because in college we don't have too many resources. So that really helped me understand that how with limited resources we can actually build a great I would say outcomes out of it. So and plus people are not motivated there by money. You have limited resources, so that's the real challenge when you have to create a lot of good outcomes with those
Limited
resources.
resources.
So I think those foundations were really well set in my early college days. and whatever I'm doing today, I think is a little higher version of anything what I have been doing in my college days. So let's say even if it is about getting a sponsorship, for me it is as equal as getting a strategic partnership here in my current company. So it's just the level have changed, the stakeholders have changed, but the idea of convincing, of negotiating, and closing a deal remains the same. So I think there the foundation of my college days have been really important for me, and I'm using all those tips and tricks what I've learned in my college. And yes, on top of it, I think today all my great friends, all my closest friends belong to my college. And trust me, being entrepreneurial journey as a lonely journey, you need to have those friends, and you cannot just survive being a sole fighter in this entire world, which is not that great these days. So you need friends, you need inspirations, and you also need learnings out of those college experiences.
So Nipun, my next question is related to your passion for storytelling. So I went through your LinkedIn, and LinkedIn tagline speaks about your passion for storytelling. We are curious, how has the art of storytelling paved the way into your journey, both as an entrepreneur and in your corporate endeavors?
Okay, sure. So yes, Gaurav, for sure, I am definitely a believer in everything about storytelling, be it about listening to other people's stories, or be it about telling my own story to the world at various occasions. Because I think this is what defines you. It's all about and I strongly believe that everyone has a story. It's not just that you only have that most complicated and struggling story in the entire world. I think everyone has been struggling. Everyone has faced some kind of challenges, be it in terms of money, be it in terms of emotions, or be it in terms of something else. It is about knowing their stories and understand what you can do better. And it is also about telling your story to the world so that they know where are you coming from. And I think storytelling works everywhere. For me, an interview is also a storytelling. For me, this podcast is also a storytelling. For me, going to a client and telling them about my company is also a storytelling. For me, going to my leadership and telling them why I want to pick a project is also storytelling. So you have to be a person who understand why are you doing something, what is the basis around that, and you have to build it all together into a story. And so for me, storytelling is not just about telling the world what Nipun is. It is about Nipun as a business strategy leader as at Razorpay. That's a different story. Nipun at Natty Niños and any background and any learnings and any success stories of that journey is a different story. You have to just ensure that what story you have to narrate where, and that is what people will recognize you as, and people will remember you as. So I think to sum up my entire description around storytelling, I would just like to call that out that yes, I will always be a promoter of storytelling, and I would highly recommend everyone to actually build a story around their life and around their experiences. And depending on the stakeholder, you narrate the right story, and I'm very sure they if you're talking right, if you have the logics in place, they'll buy your story. Be it a customer, be it a stakeholder, be it a leader, or be it the world who's listening to your entire personal or professional story.
I actually really liked how you link the storytelling with your life, because I think people remember stories and it is easier for them to connect. So I
Yes.
actually found a new perspective here. I would actually like to introduce our listener to the your startup, Natty Niños. It was the pioneer in kids grooming and event industry, especially in the north part of India. So I believe that you started that startup way early in your age, at the age of 22. I mean, we are really young at that age. So, what challenges did you face in introducing and sustaining such a startup and a novel concept at such an early age?
Okay. So as I told in the initial conversation as well, that I always wanted to start something of my own. So I remember that I gave my cat in 2013, where
Okay.
I also wanted to attend a full time like a top college in the country, and I aggressively studied for about 4 months. I think I took a break, and I was keen in attempting that cat and scoring really well to get into a great college. But I think coincidentally and probably because of destiny, I couldn't score the marks I desired. So that's when I actually decided that, okay, it's the time to start my own company. I don't want to waste another year by attempting another cat, and let me start my own company. I anyways wanted to do that, so why don't I do it right now? So that's the reason why I started early. I was actually, I think, around 22 years old when I started thinking about building my own company. An idea of Natty Niños actually came. I would say it was a mix of my own passions, and it was a mix of a lot of research I did. So what I knew was that, okay, I am a little creative. I am someone who will be able to create a great B2C brand, because I have done that a lot in my college days, as well as in a lot of my personal commitments, where people did tell me a lot of times that, okay, I am someone who is a great collaborator, or who is great with people. So I knew that I can be that person who can create a company in this space. But then I was not aware that what should I exactly build. So when I was actually going through some ideas in my initial days, I realized that, okay, kids salon market in India is very blank, and there is no one who is building anything in this space. So I thought, why don't I start something like a exclusive kids salon concept in Delhi, where I'll create a proper, beautiful salon with everything kids friendly. My root cause problem was that salon experiences for kids has never been very delightful. I have always seen parents complaining that their kids are not too willing to visit the salon. So why don't I pick that problem and solve that? And then, considering India has such a huge population of babies and kids between 1 year to 15-year old, that I knew there is a market, there is definitely a TAM, and if I'll create something right, people will definitely visit me. So I thought that, okay, let me create a salon. I'll make sure right from the interiors, right from the infrastructure, right from the chairs to the barbers, everything will be trained and everything will be made in a way that it makes the entire salon experiences for kids and babies very, very delightful. So that was my core business idea. I always knew that I'll be using that as my USP. And along with that, I actually added another business stream, which was doing kids and babies event planning. Again, I try to keep my TAM intact by doing it only for babies and kids events. So idea was simple, that let me get customers to my salon as my USP, because kids salon is something which people have not heard of. It was not a very popular concept back then and even today. So they'll come to me, they'll visit my salon, and I will build a community of the right kind of parents who are always in lookout for doing different things for their kids and new things for their kids. And eventually I will build a community, and I will eventually sell them, or rather tell them about my event planning services as well. So that was a core value proposition of the entire idea. And thankfully, and I think for all the right GTMs we adopted, it actually worked for us. I think within 2 years we were able to create a community of more than 1,000 parents, and we had more than 10,000 footfalls at our salon, and that helped us building the right I would say right set of parents, rather get the right set of parents in our community, and we could sustain our business right from third year with a positive EBITDA. And uh, that was a core value proposition, as I just mentioned. And within the third year, we got cash flow positive. We started with doing like about 50 events in our first year, and by the time I actually closed down my business, we were doing more than, I think, on an average of 250 events in a year. So that's how our event division has really like it grew from, I would literally say it grew from 0 to 1 first, and 1 to 10 in the later stages and in the later years of the journey. So that was a core idea, I think, Abhishek, for Natty Niños, why I started early and how was the journey in the initial few years.
Since you were
That's
talking about the growth and the growth of Natty Niños, I actually see the numbers that Natty Niños was witnessing a 30% year-on-year growth. And there was some significant marketing and hacking strategies that the company used, especially like in startup. So people generally don't spend a lot of money in startups, especially in marketing. And here Natty Niños was spending some decent amount in marketing. So I would like to know what's your take on that? Like, what was the reason behind it?
Okay. So I would just want to clarify one thing here. One, So Natty Niños never spent any single penny of amount in any of the marketing campaigns in the
Okay.
entire 7-8 years of journey. One, my brand was bootstrapped, so I never had surplus funds to actually to spend like a typical startup who is funded and they have more flexibilities around spending a lot of money on their marketing initiatives. So I was very clear that I want to build a sustainable business. I put in my own money, and I knew the value of every 1,000 rupees I would have spent on anything which might not have got me the right results. My idea was clear that okay, let me play around minds of my customers in a very positive way by telling them that what kind of impact anything what they are coming at Natty Niños is creating. So we used to do a lot of marketing, different initiatives. Let's say one of our initiative was we used to actually click a very professional picture of anyone who used to visit our salon, and
Okay.
later we used to publish that on our social media pages. Then parents used to come, they used to share, they used to like, they used to comment, and that's what helped us creating a lot of word of mouth for our brand.
Okay.
Secondly, we did build a very active social media page, again, which helped us uh, tell people what we are doing at Natty Niños, spread the word, and tell them that okay, we are not just a salon for kids, we are also into event planning services for kids. Third, I was very conscious on any single feedback, any single like score anyone used to give us after availing any of our service. So any good feedback, any good testimonial used to drive the entire team crazy, and we used to use that as a testimony to our entire work. So eventually when we attended, like when we crossed our initial 2 years, we actually had more than 50, 70 proper subjectively written testimonial on our like Facebook page as well as on Google, which actually helped us again bring a lot of more traffic to our salon as well as our event services. And fourth, I'm a strong believer that if you are providing the right things to your right audience, these people will automatically become your marketeers, and these people will automatically become the promoters of your business. If you are able to create a one happy customer, that one happy customer will help you get 10, 20, 50, 50 or 100 even more customers. That's the entire goal and the entire value proposition what we try to create with Natty Niños, that each single customer is important. Let's ensure that they are happy with our services. If they will go out happy, be it at salon or be it through our event services, they will automatically help us get our next set of 10 or 20 customers. So that's why I never ever paid any amount on performance marketing, any amount on Facebook ads, any amount on Google ads. Idea was clear: get them in, serve them the right and the best, and things will just automatically flow. And that I could see also happening with my journey I'm just clearly telling you, right from third year, we did started getting those numbers where from that moment where we started growing 30% year on year, and with a bootstrap business, that was quite an achievement, because I initially also told you that I wanted to build a sustainable business which runs from its own revenues, from its own profits, and where we are not dependent on any external funding. So by before COVID hit, I think our company was literally was on about 50% gross profit and 40% net profit kind of a business model, and it was backed by all the things I've just told you. How we built a strong brand in people mind, in parents mind, where they used to think that okay, if it is Natty Niños, we can trust on that, and that's what creates any trustable or notable brand in long term.
That's really insightful and something innovative we have heard of from you, Nipun. So my next question is that from kickstarting your journey of successful startup at the age of 22 to now being an associate director at Razorpay with pivotal role at Picker in the between, we are really curious, how has the journey been for you transitioning from the high risk, high reward world of entrepreneurship to the structured world of corporate strategy?
Right, Gaurav, right. So see, Gaurav, of course, the transition was never easy. For me, honestly, if you ask me 3 years back, I would have never thought to ever join a corporate company, because for me, Natty Niños was forever. I was building a company which I wanted to be there for decades, and rather it remains there even if I will not be there as a part of that company in future. But I think just like me and for a lot of people, COVID really play a very pivotal role in defining their journeys. And when COVID came, I actually tried to sustain and ensure that Natty Niños doesn't get impacted. But like after the first wave, second wave, and then the third wave, when more than a year and a half period got passed, and still we were not exactly able to see a clear picture on how things will flow from here. In that entire world of vulnerabilities and a lot of confusion and a lot of cash crunch, because I actually lost a lot of money in sustaining my business for that 1.5 years, where I had to still pay a lot of money for all my fixed expenses month on month, regardless of having a zero revenue almost. So that's when I decided that okay, probably let me take a plunge, and let me for now close my operations for Natty Niños, because one of my great friend told me sometimes it's better to stop losses than making profits or even thinking about making profits. And that's what I did. I stopped my losses, and that time I never knew that will be a permanent closure of Natty Niños. And that's when I got this opportunity to work with Picker in May 2021, and where I joined them as an entrepreneur in residence, and I was responsible for a lot of works there, be it strategic partnerships, growth hacking, and also taking care of their enterprise sales division. So that one single call and one single decision actually changed my entire life trajectory, where I got to know that even working for a corporate is not that bad. I started enjoying going to office every day. I started enjoying being a part of their growth journey. I actually realized that okay, I can actually build a small startup within their startup by putting in a lot of extra efforts, and that started showing a lot of early results. I became a very critical part of that core team. I got multiple promotions within 20 months period I spent at Picker, and eventually in I think April 2022, I was also promoted to a position of assistant vice president there, and I was leading a team of general managers, business development managers, and at least 18 to 20 people team. So that journey was very beautiful. I never thought that I will enjoy my time while working for someone else, but parallelly, when I got into this world, I also realized that okay, probably this side I never knew about myself. I probably, because what happens, that there are a lot of sides which you have never explored, and you
Yeah.
are always very
Yeah.
conservative on that okay, you don't even know that are you good in doing that. So let's say a person who has never been an entrepreneur and is right now doing a job, that person might also be having similar kind of vulnerabilities in his or her mind. So is the case for with me. When I was running my own company for 8 years, I never thought that can I be a great resource in the corporate world as well. But as I've just told you, that Picker time was really great for me. That was a life defining moment for me, and I'm so glad that I took that decision, because today when I'm working with Razorpay, I think it is only been possible because of all the time I spent with Natty Niños, and that high growth journey experience I had at Picker. So that's how my journey has been. I worked for Natty Niños for almost 8 years. Then I worked for Picker for almost 20 months. And from the almost close to 1 year, I'm part of Razorpay. And here I'm actually leading a very beautifully designed and conceptualized, I would say, a beautiful startup program, where intention is to empower anyone in the country who is building their own startup. And that's so much defines everything what I have been doing in my life. I am myself, I have been an entrepreneur. I have seen that growth journeys in Picker, when I saw that journey from 0 to 1 and 1 to 10 in my 20-month journey. And now it feels like that I'm giving it back, anything I've learned in my 10 years by building this program, because this program is for all those people. I keep on meeting so many entrepreneurs in whom I can actually see myself of that 10 years back, the thought process, the confusion, the complexities, the fear, And now at Razorpay and at Razorpay Rize, we are actually building a program that how we can solve each and every pain point of their entire journey, and how we can enable them, how we can be a part of their growth journey. And for that, we have a lot of initiatives, a lot of interesting community initiatives, what we are doing at Razorpay Rize. And I never feel like working, honestly, here. It just comes so naturally that I enjoy going to office each and every day. I just feel that okay, this is something. Nothing can be more contentful than this. While working for founders, be a part of their growth journey, talking to them, learning from them, and probably make them also learn out of your experiences that how you have also faced some similar problems, and how you can be that person who can quickly help them in solving a lot of their day-to-day problems or day-to-day challenges. So that's what briefly concludes what where from where I started and where I am right now at Razorpay.
Your journey of entrepreneurship sounds really beautiful, and what you are currently doing with the at Razorpay Rise with the concept of helping entrepreneurs, I think it's very intriguing, especially for students, for people like us who are actually starting to build our careers, and we always are very scared of the fact that startups are very unstable and it will take a lot from you, and we are very emotionally driven by that. So, one of the questions that I would like to ask you right now would be the balance between the IQ and EQ. So, what is your take on that? And with respect to leadership, what is your take? Which outweighs the another?
So see, both of them are equally important. You will be required to have intelligent quotient as well as emotional quotient, depending on the situations and depending on the narrative and depending on with whom you are actually dealing. But a lot of people doesn't give that kind of importance to emotional quotient the way it has in my life. I have been a big promoter of EQ. I very strongly believe in the entire core value of why EQ is very important in today's world. See, when you are dealing with the stakeholders, be it the people who are reporting to you, or be it the people who are at your manager's level. With EQ, you have to understand that what are they actually looking out of a specific meeting, or looking out from a specific negotiation discussion, or looking out of a specific result oriented outcome kind of a meeting. So if you understand the mentality, if you make them believe that yes, you understand, if you make them believe that yes, you can sympathize or empathize with their entire problem, that actually creates a lot of difference. And you will be able to see that you are able to close conversations very quickly. You are able to keep your team very happy and very contentful and very motivated. And you will also be able to put a very positive influence on all your stakeholders, that yes, this person understand the problem and also the intensity and the empathetic side of the problem. So that is why EQ becomes very important. And trust me, in today's world where things are so gross everywhere, people like to be around positive people. People like to be around those positive leaders who influence them every day, who motivates them every day, who inspires them every day to do something bigger, who inspires them to tell them about a small problem which they might be doing today, but by doing some few new things, how they can actually change that into a positive outcome. So that's why a leader motivated and influenced by EQ, I think, are generally perceived as the next future leaders. And I'm a big time believer of that. And I follow that every single day in my work, be it in personal or my professional day-to-day activities.
Very insightful and very inspiring also. You told about how you ventured from entrepreneurship to the normal corporate job, but this also shows like how one person can be ready to explore and should be ready to explore and try new things, uh, and also like be flexible in their decision making. So I also wanted to ask you one question about your both previous ventures like Natty Niños and Picker. So you have been involved in both B2C with Natty Niños and B2B with Picker. So how do strategies differ when dealing with these two distinct segments? Because all there are future entrepreneurs who are confused, like what should be the right strategy. So your insights will be very helpful on this.
Right. So I think what you just how you just started your question, I think I would like to call out a statement which I have now started believing very strongly, that yes, change will always happen. Your life will never be flowing in exactly the same direction. Plus, it will never be flowing in the direction you probably ever planned it to be. There will be challenges, there will be changes. You have to be prepared to accept those changes with the best possible positive intent. Because if you will not accept changes and you will be just stuck on the point where you will just start introspecting that why it has happened with me or why it has happened even, then you will not be able to continue your journey in the same pace or in the same flow which you would have ever thought of. So yes, changes will be there, and changes are there to be accepted and move forward. And to answer your main question, which is around B2B and B2C, see, of course, my entire Natty Niños broad experience lied in building a brand for B2C brands. And Picker was, of course, B2B, complete B2B. The core difference, I think, is B2C businesses are very emotionally driven, I would say. You have to understand what does your end customer actually needs. These customers are generally emotional decision makers. And these customers are generally people who are in lookout for multiple solutions and services. And if they'll feel that your product is not just fulfilling the core value, I think in economics and in business studies, we used to study this concept that every product has three layers. If I'm not wrong, I think one used to be the core value, then the augmented value, and third was by the name of, I don't remember, but it used to represent the emotional value of the product. So in B2C, these you have to actually play around these three layers. That one, if let's say a person who's coming to salon, the core value proposition here is, of course, getting a haircut done. Second can be the entire experience on how he or she feels when he visits the salon, the ambience, the barber experience, the music we are playing, the chair experience on which the kid is sitting, how clean our salon is. Third can be that emotional value, what that customer perceives out of that entire experience. Let's say how happy was his or her kid after exiting the salon. We used to actually give away to each and every kid who used to get a successful haircut done. So every time you will get a haircut done, we will give you a gift. So small initiatives like that creates that emotional value to that entire experience. So just to sum up, I think B2C has to have to play around the entire value proposition, which includes core, which includes the augmented value, and which also includes the emotional value of the product. When it comes to B2B, I think things become a little serious, where you have to understand what is a core problem you are trying to solve with your product when you are dealing with enterprise accounts, when you are dealing with the businesses. For that, you have to go a little deep down by understanding your client's business first, how they are managing their things currently, how your product can add a lot of value to their business, and then create a case out of it. So that's the broad difference while you are working in a B2B or a B2C brand. To sum up the entire answer, B2C for me is a value plus emotional value based like businesses, and B2B are more like rational, more logical, and more how on how much you understand how your product can solve a real problem in your client's life. So this is how I take up at, or how I see B2B and B2C businesses, though both of them equally excites me. And I think I can handle whatever it comes to me, because let's say even in Razorpay right now, there are a lot of B2B discussions when we are dealing with a lot of strategic partners. And there are a lot of B2C discussions, though B2C is not the correct word to use when we are dealing with the founders, but indirectly it is like a B2C kind of a conversation what we have. So we have to maintain the difference, the maintain in terms of communication, and maintain the difference in terms of messaging we are giving to our end audience. So that is what I think I have my points on B2B and B2C.
So I guess marketing is rather an important aspect associated with B2C,
Yes,
driving the consumers. Yeah.
definitely,
So
and that's why we
in
keep on seeing so many Zomato, Swiggy,
yeah.
and all these brand ads who always they'll never talk about what is Zomato. Have you seen a Zomato ad recently where they talk, okay, Zomato is a India's best 30 minutes delivery system? They will never talk about it.
They
They will
never say
always
that.
play around the idea of emotions attached with the
Yeah.
getting a delivery within 30 minutes. And that is why B2C is different, and marketing has to play around that emotional value, what the product is creating.
Yeah, I mean, with the Zomato itself, they are giving such taglines, "Chai mein kya lena hai, matti khani hai." So these are very something that connects with people more. And like you said at Natty Niños also, you
Yes,
gave gifts to kids. So that is something that cheers kids as well and their parents as well, I guess. So
yes, yes.
that was something nice. Okay, before we wind up, actually, I have one more question for you. Uh, so, since we talked about a lot of things like entrepreneurs and what is the right time to do things and why we should not just limit ourselves to corporate jobs or entrepreneurs, there are multiple facets of life and we should explore all of them. Uh, I would just want to know what the advice that you would like to give to entrepreneurs, especially for the students on dealing with these uncertainties and failures. Because students, as students, even we are very scared of this uncertainty, especially.
Okay, okay. I think you just mentioned failures. Honestly, I don't think at all. Like till you are students, you have those hardcore failures for which you should be even sad for a minute. You feel that they are failures, but they are not. You'll realize this when you'll come out of your colleges that failures are completely different altogether. Getting 5 marks less in exams, or probably not getting a placement in the best company are not actual failures of this real world. So first, you should not at all be disappointed. I think students should understand they are very young. They are too early in their career to even have that feeling that they have already failed. Second, I think just like I mentioned in my journey that you never know how things will change eventually. You might think about starting with a job. You might excel in it like no one else. That also is equally good. That also is equally amazing as a feat. And I would call that as a successful career. Why not? If someone has got into, let's say, a company like McKinsey or Bain, and that person is sticking there for next 20 years, of course, by making multiple switches in the similar domain and making a good career out of it. I would term that as a successful career. And for someone who actually wants to build something or actually have that entrepreneurial spirit, that person should definitely go forward by of course evaluating, researching, and then come to a conclusion that that person have that ultimate idea to take that risk and to take that plunge. It doesn't have to come out like if Avishi is doing and thinking about building a brand after college, I will also do that. You have to take your own decisions. You have to see what fits more naturally to you. Let's say I had friends who always wanted to do a 9 to 5 job only. They never wanted to be busy in a company while building that. They are 24/7 busy. They are working for all 7 days. They don't have their Saturday Sundays free.
Yeah.
And so you have to decide what gives you happiness. If you are able to define what gives you happiness, I'm very sure any one of you and anyone in your college and beyond will be very able to quickly decide that, okay, should I actually go out and do a job? Should I go out and do my MBA? Should I go out and do my PhD? And should I immediately start building my own company? So if hustling, if risk taking, if that excitement of building a company who employs 10, 20, 100 and 1000 people also one day, if that drives you, yes, entrepreneurship is for you. If a 9 to 5 job, which where you have a defined work, where you want to work with the most intellectual people in the country, where you have to have your Saturday Sunday off, where you want to plan your holidays, you want to have a very stable life right from day zero, then of course corporate is a great place for you to be. And it also has its own perks and all benefits. As I'm telling you that I have been part of both the worlds, And
Yeah.
I can definitely validate that both of the world has its own merits and demerits. So just do what fits in more naturally to you. That is what I would always recommend. One, don't be in rush. Don't just chase dreams for the fact that other person are also chasing similar dreams. And then never feel that it's ever late to do anything. You can start doing job like me at 30, or you can start your own venture at 30 like a lot of people do after doing 10 years and spending 10 years at corporate. So let the things flow in the way how naturally it can flow into, and you will find your answers and you will find your success if you will be doing things uh, where you are happy, where you are content, where you comes back home and feel that okay, I had a great day at work today. So if that will happen, things will automatically start flowing in the way you ever wanted it to be and you have ever dreamt it to be.
Yeah.
Actually, I
So
feel
I
like the thing that you said, what we want to do and what should we do next is more suppressed by the social stigma and what will other people think of us and the social status that we have. Social pressure is something that we as a student literally have a lot. At least we witness it at the college, I would
Do
say.
you have it from your fellow students or
Yeah,
from your parents or from that outside world who want to see you as outshining always?
yeah.
I'm
It's
asking
always
you,
there.
how does
No,
it
no.
work? Like,
I feel like some people would be like want to do startup. So you have this FOMO ki, okay, he wants to do that and I don't want to do that. Is there something wrong with me? Because people ponder on this question.
Yeah, I also faced this kind of situation. Like during the COVID pandemic, I also started a business around organic manure. And later on, my parents said that what kind of things you are doing on. And due to those kind of situations, I end up in MBA. So the
See,
things are always
actually
there.
happens.
Yeah.
see, no business is small, trust me. आजकल तो लोग चाय बनाकर बिजनेस बना चुके हैं मल्टी करोड़
Yeah,
रुपीस
yeah.
का. अगर
MBA
आप
chai wala.
स्टूडेंट से 10 साल पहले, दो आई एम नॉट अ फैन ऑफ एमबीए चाय वाला एटलीस्ट एज अ बिजनेस मॉडल.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm more like business models of Chayos and Chai Point because
Yeah.
those
Yeah.
look real businesses to me. I am not a fan of like हिंदी में बोलते हैं ना हवाबाजी kind of business.
Yeah,
Ha.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Never a fan of that MBA chai wala business because I've never ever heard people telling me that okay, you try MBA chai wala's X chai. That is really amazing. All people tell about is how he tries to look in that
Okay.
entire ecosystem that he is a successful entrepreneur. So for
Yeah.
me, that's not the concept of entrepreneurship. People should remember for things what you are creating in this entire world, and not for the fact that how vocal and how unnecessary vocal you are in the entire ecosystem, while just promoting yourself and not just the brand and increasing the quality of services your brand is creating. So yes, I think no businesses are small. Uh, you won't even believe the kind of startups we end up talking on everyday basis, working with Razorpay Rize, and even before that, people are building just anything. They are just seeing a problem, and they're ready to build a company around that. It can be a small or the smallest problem like solving. How India used to, as an Indian audience, everyone used to be a chai fan, and there was a perception that chai सिर्फ ठेले पे मिलेगा, and
Ha.
there are people who solved for it and successfully solved for it. We have to just understand the problem we are solving. Do we have a good enough TAM for it? If you have a TAM for it, if you have the right audience who might use your product, I think even creating a company of some innovative safety pin is also a great idea. So it doesn't matter what you are building; it matters for who you are building and do they actually need your product or not. So no idea is
Yeah.
small. Trust me, no idea is small. And after Shark Tank, I'm very sure your parents
Yeah.
must have started talking more progressively about entrepreneurship
Yeah, yeah.
because now they have
Yeah.
understood
Definitely.
how it can change the world. Yes,
Shark Tank has been like a turn for everyone.
yes, definitely,
It has
definitely.
just changed the perception of everyone.
It
Yes,
has.
yes, yes. Avisha, are we asking any more question?
Yeah, yeah.
Just ask.
No, we are just gonna wrap it up. Yeah.
Sure, sure,
Okay.
sure.
Gaurav?
Yeah. So Nipun, it has been an absolute pleasure hearing your story. Your journey is a testament to the power of perseverance, innovation, and belief in oneself.
So Nipun, before we actually finally wrap it up, I just want to ask you to leave our listeners, especially the aspiring entrepreneurs and students, with just one mantra to guide them through this journey. So, what would that one mantra be?
It is very difficult to sum it up all in one mantra, but I would just, this is not a mantra, but just like a two-liner kind of a, what I learned out of my journey. I think just be consistent, be patient, be okay to accept changes, and just give your 100% every day on whatever you are working on. If you'll do that consistently from weeks to weeks, months to months, years on years, you will achieve what you ever wanted to achieve. It may modify during the course of the journey. Your end results may also change, but just never lose hope and never stop working hard. You will find your ways and you will end up with something really great. That is for sure. And
Thank you,
of course,
Nipun.
that is not a mantra, but just for the fact you told that students are really high on the social stigma these days,
Yeah.
please stop running after other what other students are doing. I actually don't understand this entire concept of people doing five, 6 internships during their college days
Yeah.
just because they want to look better than others.
Yeah.
Come on, it doesn't matter eventually. All what matters is that what did you learn out of that, even that's one single internship, what you can put forward in your future works. Because if at least I will be hiring any person in future, I will never be excited about how many number of internships you have done. I will rather be more interested to know what did you learn out of it. And if I don't get out of that conversation which I'll be doing with you in that interview, for me, it's a zero value experience. So don't run after the quantity, but run after the quality. If you'll do that, you may, or your fellows may be a little ahead of you in initial few years of your journey. But in long run, after 10 years, I can vouch for it and I can promise you, you will be way ahead than any one of those people who would have been just working to create a fancy CV. So that is something I can vouch for, and I can validate, and I can give you 100% confidence that think on a long term picture and not the short term picture which lies just in front of you.
Thank you, Nipun. It has been really intriguing session because we got to know about different concepts that we had never heard before, and I definitely believe it would be a insightful session for students all over India who are gonna watch this podcast.
Thank you, Nipun. That was really powerful and something we all need to remember. And thank you, Nipun, for such an enlightening conversation.
For our listeners, thank you for joining us on another episode of What's Your Story. We hope Nipun's story has inspired you as much as it has inspired us.
So, signing off from Sashakt, DMS IT Delhi. Take care and stay inspired.